All right, hello everybody. Steve Politi here at SHI Stadium, 26-19 victory. I'm trying to only turn my head in this direction because my glasses broke before the game. We're playing hurt. We're doing the best we can. Like the Scarlet Knights, we're playing hurt. We're banged up. Come out, got a nice victory for Rutgers today. All kidding aside, had to have it. I mean, the entire, you could just, a massive exhale in the stadium, and the players themselves celebrating afterward. This is a good thing for this program.
It was a huge get-right moment for the program. They obviously had some to reset during the bye week is probably the best way to put it. Coach Greg Schiano, said that Joe Harris-Simiak, the defensive coordinator, stripped the defense down to the bolts and studs, I think, to put it in construction terms. I'm not a home reno guy, but, you get the point. And I think what you saw was this defense finally lived up to the expectations that it set for itself, right? And that many people thought it would be. They got a lot of pressure. 4 sacks, 8 tackles for loss after that was a huge concern the last couple of weeks. And after getting gashed in the last 3 games, giving up almost 40 points per game, came out and played really great defensively. So that's what stood out to me. What about you, Brian?
And made the game-changing play. Tyrone Powell with the sack fumble. They recover the ball. Ethan Kaliakmanis, a couple plays later, throws the game-winning pass to Ian Strong. Ethan Kaliakmanis, who played excellent in the first half right until his interception. Then he missed, I think it was something like 13 of his next 15 throws, really struggled, but he did what he had to do on that key drive and won the game. And I think as much as everyone wants to play down, for a lot of people, this win meant a lot. For Ethan Kaliakmanis against his former team, there was a moment after the game, after he does victory formation, it seemed like the entire Minnesota roster went over to say hi to him. A lot of his former teammates, he said PJ Fleck said he was happy for him after the game. And I think that is it's an emotional day, an emotional week. And now an emotional win that they got 3 games left. They only need 1 more win to go to Detroit, Steve. Are we going to spend Christmas in Detroit?
You better believe it. And the point about Kaliakmanis playing so well early on. And then for me, what made this win important from the standpoint, Rutgers looked like Rutgers again defensively. And part of that was Tyrone Powell. And, I don't think people understand just how banged up he is. I mean, if you watch that game against Southern Cal, it looked like he's running around on one leg. And this is not the player we saw last year. This is not, clearly, he's just not himself. He looked like himself. And defensively, he had that tackle. He jarred the ball loose with his helmet. Shaquan Loyal recovered it. That changed the game. The question now is, will it change the season?
Yeah, the thing is, I've always believed that Maryland was going to be one of Rutgers' toughest games because they have speed, good receivers, and that's who's coming up next. And I just think Rutgers has played a couple bad games against Maryland, and it's just not the matchup. But so maybe I'll give you that answer. A big question mark in that game will be, does Rutgers get Kyle Monungai back? That was obviously a huge storyline in this one. It didn't have a star running back. Will Monungai be available next week? Greg Schiano said he was close to playing today. He wanted to play. So we'll see. I think that'll be a big thing to follow next week.
It's to this win, right? They're down their top 2 running backs, and they still managed to win this game. It's very impressive. A lot of that came because of Kaliakmanis, because of impressive catches from Ian Strong and an ever-emerging wide receiver group. If you ignore the fact that Dymere Miller, like Kaliakmanis, was a stud in the first half, and then in the second half dropped 3 passes and looked nothing like himself. A very big, stark change. The biggest takeaway to me, I think, is that this team has not given up. Yeah, I know that was absolutely a concern of mine entering the bye week. They had to win 2 games to make a bowl game. Did they really want to make a bowl game? This, to me, was a resounding yes. They still want to play for each other. They still want to win games. They still have to have some pride. And I think they believe they can make a bowl game. And talking to Kyle Monungai this week, who said he anticipated playing, that kind of plays into Greg Schiano's point of they basically had to say, no, you can't play, or else he would have played. It's very clear that these guys do want to make a bowl game. They do want to still play. And that to me is why I now believe they're likely to make a bowl game.
I don't think that you look at it and you can make an argument that was the toughest game they have left. Minnesota was 6-3, a program they have never beaten. You can say it was a good matchup for Rutgers. I don't know. You look now, I mean, Maryland's out and going to get their, kicked in Oregon. Illinois does not look like the same team they were early in the season. And then you're at Michigan State, a bad Michigan State team. I don't know.
It's crazy how much, I guess 2 weeks, if you count the bye week here, can change things, especially for a football team. And I think sometimes when you take a step back and really look at the things that were plaguing them, that's what got me in this one, right? Like I took a step back and it's like, well, the defense just hasn't been the defense that we expected. And I thought that was just going to be a long-term problem that plagued this team down the stretch. Today, they fixed it. I don't know if that continues the next 3 games, but you got to be encouraged by it. So
I did think Minnesota was the best team left on their schedule. I did say on the pod that they were the most winnable team because of the fact that they just could not build on any positive momentum in the first half. They scored a couple times and they just couldn't score. A lot of that is credit to the Rutgers defense. A lot of that is the fact that this Minnesota team, as we've said ad nauseum, is just a different version of Rutgers, and that these two teams just don't build big leads. And this game was always going to come down to one score in the fourth quarter. And Rutgers, unlike the most of the season, made the big plays when it counted, and it won the game. I do want to say one thing. We'll mention this more on the podcast. I thought the crowd was not great. I thought the crowd was not as loud. It was the lowest announced attendance for a Rutgers game since October 22 against Indiana. Understandably so. I understand why people wouldn't want to come out to a game at this point. But I will say maybe a win at Maryland will encourage more people to come for the season finale, the home finale against Illinois. And maybe that's the win that puts them over the top for a bowl game.
Could be. All right, let's sign off there. Again, good victory for the Scarlet Knights, 26-19. Ends the 5-game losing streak. Will it get them to the bowl game? We'll know soon. Some drama. I'm going to LensCrafters. See you later.